at oriontalkradio@gmail.com. That's oriontalkradio@gmail.com.
Something's gone wrong. For all our vigilance and battle scars over the Bill of Rights, and we let the flame of freedom's torch grow cold. Because there can be no torch to pass where there's no flame.
Freedom has only one enemy it cannot defeat, and that is negligence. So your presence here, now, today, is an act of reverence. Of all man's works beneath the heavens, none shines brighter than our Constitution. I think Jefferson and Paine, Adams, Madison, Mason, Franklin, I think they're looking down right now at us. I think they understand what we're trying to do, what we strive to do. Every time our country stands in the path of danger, an instinct seems to summon her finest first, those who truly understand her. When freedom shivers in the cold shadow of true peril, it's always the patriots who first hear the call. When loss of liberty is looming, as it is now, the siren sounds first in the hearts of freedom's vanguard.
Good evening, everybody. Joe Joseph here. The Sunday edition of Freedomlink Radio is finally here. My co-host tonight, the incredible John King. Johnny, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
And my guest tonight, guys, this is a very special treat. It's somebody who will give you hope. And somebody that I wanted to showcase tonight, I stumbled upon his YouTube channel when my wife actually forwarded me a video, and it had to do with critiquing an interview that Comedy Central did with Judge Andrew Napolitano, and it was an absolutely fantastic video. And I would like to welcome Dan, whose channel is EducatoriumEuphorium, to the show. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mr. Joseph. Hey, Mr. King.
So, I want to start off with a special topic, and that topic to me is homeschool. Now, Bob Tuskin, who is a radio show host on Oracle, did a great show a couple of weeks back on homeschooling. Now, you're homeschooled, correct?
Yep, I've been homeschooled for about 5 years.
And what is if you were to weigh the pros and cons to homeschooling, give us a few.
Well, the pros are obviously the great things is that, homeschooling is more like capitalism because there's the unschoolers, the people who anti-homeschooling people like to point out and say, well, look, they're not going to do well in the world. So there's the people who are doing worse off, but there's also, as a whole, homeschoolers do better off. You're allowed to pursue your own interests, and you're allowed to look at everything and what you want to. You're not all scheduled out. You have to meet certain standards, but besides that, you're free to choose what you want to do. And that's a really great thing about homeschooling because I can learn about economics and my friends can learn about whatever they want to. And the only good thing probably about public schooling is the social relationships it provides. The problem with public schooling, though, is that it's, like I said, it's very structured and you're not allowed to pursue your own talents. You're forced to just kind of fit in with the mold, and that's detrimental to people.
It most certainly is. And I homeschool my 4 kids, and it's an absolute, probably one of the best things that I have ever done. But it's one of the things that you get raked over the coals with when it comes to dealing with people, not only just in society, but other family members. If they're not on the same page, you end up being a black sheep, I guess you could say, because even though it's an old concept, and even though at one point in time everybody was homeschooled in one way, shape, or form, the prevailing opinion these days is, you got to go to a approved, accredited school, whether it be public or private. if you don't, a lot of the perception is you're shortchanging that person. And the one thing that always seems to be the argument is, well, the socialization, they don't get socialization. Do you get socialization?
Oh yeah, definitely. I belong to a homeschool co-op. We were talking about this earlier, and that's plenty of socialization. And it's the other thing is that you aren't forced to. There's not the cliquey stuff, and it's not. You feel less you feel less inhibited with the people you talk with. There's more diversity, and it really you don't have that same kind of stigma attached to certain people in homeschooling really as public schooling.
What I found is that, my son went through public school for the first 8 years, and he transitioned to homeschooling in the 9th grade. And the one thing that I noticed was that in public school, there was a cool to be stupid mentality where if you were a top performer, you were looked down upon by everybody else. And if you aren't a leader or an A-type personality, that you tend to be brought down to their level instead of them coming up to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the thing. When we transitioned to homeschool and we got involved in a co-op, what I come to find out is that there is a lot of kids that are trying to do better. It's almost like it's not so much a competition, but because that atmosphere isn't there, there's nothing hindering the progress. And the other nice thing, of course, is the fact that everybody's education is tailored towards what they want to do or what their strengths are, or like, for example, my son, he isn't so much as a matter of fact, from an English standpoint, he's okay, but, it's not his strong point. But math, the sciences, and even the arts, huge. And he picks it up quick. So you can kind of see what it is that he likes. And we're to the point now where I've taught him how to learn. And one of the hardest things to do is teaching young people how to learn. Once you teach them how to learn, then everything else kind of falls in line. And he's self-paced now. I'll give him the content. This is what you're going to do this week. But the very seldom, if ever, do I have to go to him or he has to come to me for help on things, because he knows where to look. He knows how to look it up. His research skills are very much on the college level. And it's just made me really appreciate what homeschooling can do for young people if you give it the chance. But it takes a lot of work, doesn't it? I mean, especially on the parents.
Yeah, definitely. My mom's given up a lot of time homeschooling us, and she has less time to do her own stuff and clean and do all those things that a regular housewife would do. But the thing also you said that was funny is, I can relate to that, because for the first couple of years of homeschooling, I was pretty much self-directed, and I did well in math and economics, but my writing suffered for it. So we chose to do something this year that was a little bit more academically rigorous. And some people might say, well, doesn't that take away from the point of homeschooling, which is to be self-directed? The thing though there is that you're not forced to. It's not like a monopoly. You don't have either homeschooling or one choice.
Right.
A lot of times you can. It's like the idea behind school choice or vouchers, whatever. You can go to all sorts of different groups and see which one works best for you. So even if you're not just flying on your own, it's like the difference between being an individual entrepreneur and someone who's a member of a business.
Fantastic. I am very encouraged that your parents allowed you to come on the show tonight, for sure. And we're going to discuss some topics tonight, folks, that should give you hope that Dan here, who's a very, very, when I say young, on the young side of teenager, very on the young side of teenager, is going to elaborate on this stuff and give his views on certain topics that we discuss on the show all the time. So I think it's important that people get a lot out of what we're going to talk about tonight, that you understand that there's a general awakening afoot in the United States, because the powers that be, whether they be left or right, it doesn't matter who they are or how they do it, they're all playing for the same team. And the sham is being exposed, and we're seeing a lot of light being shined on that. So when we come back, we're going to dive into that. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network and AM 1650. We'll be right back.